Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue our journey with Lisa and Usman. Let's watch this TV show called 90 Day Fiancé and see if anything of interest comes out of my face. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. This is the Psychology in Seattle podcast. I am a licensed therapist and a professor, and I've been both those things for over 20 years. So I have a lot of things to say when I watch these sorts of shows. Let's see what happens.
Usman definitely wants to be the alpha male. I'm willing to blend somewhat to his culture.
Hey!
But I'm not going to be an obedient wife. I'm leaving. Because you're disrespectful.
Why do you get angry quick?
Because you talk stupid at times.
No, it's not stupidity.
You act like an idiot.
Name calling is always a red flag because you're stupid, you're an idiot. That's not a good sign either.
I want you to understand that I'm your houseman. I'm telling you all the problems we have.
I'm very independent. I've been taking care of my own life for many years.
Okay.
We're going to have to find common ground. This is where you said we're blending two countries, two people,
Yes.
two cultures.
Yes.
So there's going to be a difference of opinions, but the communication is where it is.
Okay.
So they keep talking about the cultural differences, which of course are there, but that is not the issue as far as I can tell. What he is having a problem with is her jealous, controlling behavior. That is not a cultural issue. It's not like all American women are demanding and jealous and hurtful and call people names. So the underlying issue is her attachment injuries that lead to the jealousy, which lead to the controlling behavior. The issue is her attachment injuries that she's not aware of, and she doesn't know how to bid to have other people take care of her. And she resorts to demands to get that, as a proxy to temporarily make her feel like she's attachment secure, when in reality people are just placating rather than actually being attachment secure with her. And that ends up pushing people away, which I'm guessing she might have done in the past. Total speculation. And from his point of view, he sees this as a cultural problem of just like, maybe all American women are like this, and she has to learn that her culture is bad and that the Hausa culture is better, and I'm a Hausa man, and she has to be subservient, because if she's subservient, then things will work out. That's probably what he's doing, actually. He's probably thinking, if she can just give up trying to control and realize that I am a Hausa man, and that is my culture, and you have to bow to me, maybe that would be a good thing. There's a possibility that that's the conclusion he's made. But of course, that doesn't take away her attachment injury. Let's say she does do what he's saying and becomes totally subservient to him. She would have some other, she would obviously be suffering from her attachment injuries that are being triggered by him. It's not his fault that they're being triggered by him, but they are. And she would have all those difficult feelings, and she would probably, without the awareness of that, she would find some other way of expressing it, either through some other aggressive behavior or passively. Anyway, I really hope that they can see that, but of course, they haven't yet, and people on this show almost never see that. So I don't know why I hope that, but we'll see what happens.
I'm not Hausa. I am an American wife. There is a difference.
Yes, but you are marrying houseman.
Yes, that means it's meeting 50-50.
Even in America, I know man is man and woman is woman. So we are not going to stay as 50-50. That is all I'm insisting. For us to be together 60-40. I am going to be at 60, you are going to be at 40. And I'm blending to take 60 because you are from America. Oh my God!
So he's resorting to his tactic that he did in the beginning. As I said, he has three different strategies. One is to placate. Two is to try to level with her and to try to say, hey, stop controlling. She demeaned that and minimized that. And his third is to invoke Hausa male-female cultural norms. And that didn't work. She walked away from him in that situation. So now he's going back to the beginning of placating her. I can't see how that is going to solve the problem. So, I don't have a lot of optimism about the situation. Now, maybe he is so flexible and so okay with himself that he can put up with the behavior, but he hasn't yet. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
There are many cultural differences that cause arguments between us. If Usman and I are going to succeed, he needs to know I will be his wife. I will walk with him. I will believe in him. But I'm going to walk right beside him, not behind him. I need to make sure Usman understands that.
So great. I'm glad they're working that out. But again, they're just completely missing the larger point here. The dominant force behind their problem is her attachment injuries that transform into jealousy, that transform into demands and commands and insults. If you haven't seen the previous videos where I've talked about this, speculation, she has relational attachment traumas from her past, either abandonment or abuse or people leaving her or chaos or something. Total speculation. I have no data on that. I just have the red flags of that. And when he does anything that resembles him being distant or him not approving of her or him not really being dedicated to her or not really caring about her feelings, which happen on these really micro levels that securely attached people can withstand. My cat wants to chime in about this. She gets triggered. What? Do you want to join? Yay! Cat. Okay. I'm on the thing. I'm doing the thing. So anyway, where was I? So when he does things that indicate that he might be moving away from her, that very much triggers those worries. And because of the trauma, she's hypervigilant about that, ever watchful for any sign that people are moving away from her. She has an intense emotional reaction to that she doesn't show because she doesn't feel safe enough to expose herself in that way. She then tries to manage that in a repetitive or habitual way that she probably learned from her family of origin, or they rewarded her behavior in such a way that she reacts very quickly, almost instantaneously with anger, and then almost instantaneously with jealousy, and then almost instantaneously with I need to control, I need to minimize, I need to mask my feelings, I need to not give up any control because when I was a kid, that always went bad for me. Again, total speculation. As I always say in the show, everything I'm saying is based on the limited information that the show decides to provide to us, which is not enough, clearly not enough to be able to assess properly as a clinician. I'm just doing these things so that you people out there can maybe be inspired to go to therapy and actually have your lives assessed in a more detailed way. Also, as I always say, this is not a substitute for actual therapy. So if you need clinical treatment, make sure you get that for yourself. There's nothing that can beat that kind of in-person treatment and assessment. Also, subscribe, hit the bell below, become a patron, subscribe to our podcast, and comment below. What do you think about what I'm saying? What do you think about this relationship? Do you like these guys? Do you not like them? I'm curious. So as those processes are happening, that's what leads to the controlling and the complaining and the overreactivity. And from his point of view, he's like, why is she doing this? And he has three patterns. He placates, which is what he's doing right now, because they're not really changing the routine. By him saying, I love you and being nice to her and chasing after her, that doesn't change anything about this routine that is in all likelihood going to repeat over and over and over again. So unless they can find some way as getting to a deeper level, usually from a therapist that would be able to identify that, I can't imagine that this working out in the end, unless he completely placates all the time, which obviously isn't good for him or her, really.
What did I tell you 6 months ago? To find out before I got here what I need as far as documentation. Now, we're down to 3 days. What if we can't get married?
Lisa get upset about everything all the time. She like to command me. She yelled at me. I'm reaching some kind of level of tired of what she's doing.
Right. This is predictable. So he placates, then he tried to communicate in what I would believe to be a mostly healthy way when they were in the hotel room when he didn't come back in time, if you remember that episode. She belittled him and tried to brush it aside. He pushed it aside. Then his third tactic is to say, I'm a house of men and you will do what I tell you to because women are supposed to be below us in my culture. That didn't work. She walked away. He reverted back to placating, and now he is still feeling that frustration. His tactics are not helping her to get at what she needs to get at, which is her attachment injuries and why that leads to hurt and jealousy. Now, that's not his responsibility. It's her responsibility or a therapist's responsibility. It's interesting on this show when I watch these couples that they tend to exhibit these repetitive patterns that they resort to, which all of us do. And if that repetitive pattern doesn't actually resolve the problem, the underlying issue, then things usually just get worse and worse and worse.
I was thinking maybe if we just come.
Why do you think I said 6 months ago to check on it before I arrived?
I don't know, baby love. I was thinking if you come, we're just going to do it simple.
No, I told you 6 months ago. I told you 3 months ago. I told you 4 weeks, 2 weeks. 3 days before I left, you said me, you need this, this, and this. I said, no, we need documentation. What do I need?
Now, on a certain level, it sounds like she has a legitimate complaint, which is for months and months, I've been asking you to find out the information. And it sounds like he was saying, yeah, the information's fine. And his explanation, his excuse is, well, I thought it'd be simple. So it sounds like he didn't look into the information. So she has a legitimate complaint. Now, how do you complain in a way that is fair and takes care of each other? A rule of thumb is, from her point of view, to say something like, I'm really disappointed. It hurts my feelings that you didn't do what you said you were going to do. I'm really worried that this will throw everything off and maybe we won't get married, because if I go back to the States and we're not married, maybe you meet someone else or we grow apart, and I don't know, I'm just really scared right now. So you can have all those normal reactions. A unfair response is to lay into him and hurt his feelings and make him feel stupid and accuse him of things and all that kind of nastiness is perhaps unfair. Now, why would someone in her position resort to aggression? Well, because when people are relationally traumatized in a way that makes it so that you can't be vulnerable, then you can't be vulnerable. As a 3-year-old, you exhibit your hurt. I'm hurt, I'm sad, and then no one listens, or you get abused or something bad happens. You learn, oh, I can never just be vulnerable. I have to come out strong and aggressive. I have to protect myself from even acknowledging that I'm vulnerable because no one is going to take care of me. I'm speculating about, where she's coming from. But anyway, let's continue watching. All right, well, it turns out that's the end of the episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.